Welcome everybody to the 1997 NR2003 Draft Series, coming to you from California International Raceway out in Fontana, California. We're here for a race for high banking, high speeds, and a brand new track for these drivers. Most recent addition to the 1997 schedule. I'm Michael Paz alongside Darien Arnsdorff, bringing you the coverage. And Darien, it's a new track. What's everybody thinking?
Everyone's thinking about probably the same thing. Fear. Complete fear, because, it's a new track, like you said, 2 miles, very high speed. It's very similar to how Michigan was last time out. So you think that some of these guys have a decent idea of what they're coming into, considering we were just at Michigan, a track very similar to this, but Michigan and California, they're very different tracks when you look at it. In practice, instead of seeing speeds of up to 210, we were only seeing speeds of about 190, 195. So it could be a very big difference here today.
Yeah, that's going to be the one thing we have to look at as we take a look at our standings right now for the season, and things are getting really intense up front right now. The top 5 are separated by less than 100 points.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see how close these guys have gotten. If you had told me 7, 8 races ago that this would be a possibility, I would have called you crazy, because we were looking at back then at the possibility of probably, with championship being locked up a race or a few races early. We're still possibly looking at that as a possibility, because we're only on race 15 this is, but I think it is a very, very tight, very fun season so far. Another driver I want to look at, because we're looking at things, I want to look at Ricky Rudd. No finish worse than 11th in the last 6 races. Very, very consistent, very, very impressive stuff out of the driver of the 99 car.
Honestly, it's been a really good run for the 99 car. I think when you look at everybody else and how they've performed over the last 6, 7 races, I think the only guy who has a better run than him is Morgan Shepherd, who's currently worked his way up to 2nd in the points. But Ricky Rudd, at the same time, 8 top 10s, that ties the points leader Dale Earnhardt, and he's really been consistent in both start and finish. His average start is 13.92 and his average finish is 13th. So right now things are going very smoothly for him, and it's a very good thing for Roush Racing, who's also got Jeff Gordon 10th in points.
Yeah, very much so. Another thing I actually want to look at, I want to see if we can pull up the Rookie of the Year standings coming into this race, because I know we're not past halfway in the season yet, but it's still something very interesting that I think we should be looking at. Ron Hornaday Jr., David Green, Steve Park, Dale Jr., Jack Sprague, the top 5. Nothing really surprising there. But I want to more look at these drivers near the bottom half of the Rookie of the Year standings, because it's you see some of these guys like Hermie Sadler, Robbie Gordon, Elliott Sadler. You see some of those guys, and it's they've been here, but they've been nowhere near as successful as the guys at Hendrick and Bill Davis.
Yeah, they're in quite an interesting scenario, because a lot of them have had to go and get these cars out of very deep holes in the owner's points, and that's why they haven't been able to make as many races, even if they've been successful through most of their races. Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, those two especially, they were brought up a little bit quicker than I think anybody anticipated, even themselves anticipated. But they're doing the best with what they have, and they're not going to get Rookie of the Year this year, but they're setting themselves up to be, hey, if you go and give us another year or so, we look to be some top contenders and finally can go up there and compete with some of these Hendrick boys.
Most definitely so. Anyway, about time to get ready. Michael, how's our starting lineup looking here today?
Well, let's see. We've got Derek Cope, one of the guys who are top 5 in points, alongside the former 1996 champion Terry Labonte in your first row. Then row 2, the number 28 of Harry Gant for Robert Yates Racing, alongside the aerial wonder, the 98 of Bill Elliott. In 5th, the number 82 of Elliott Sadler, one of the lone Dodges in the field, and great qualifying run. He was one of those rookies that we were talking about that is a little bit down in the owner's points, so starting 5th is a good start on that. In 6th is the 43 of Dale Sr. Then in row 4, we're going to have the 29 of Jim Sauter and the 46 of Mike Bliss. And to round out the top 10, the number 21, Bobby Labonte, and the 94, Ken Schrader.
Moving on through the rest of the field here, we get Hermie Sandler, won the Rookie of the Year contender, the Rookie of the Year points leader, Ron Hornaday Jr., in row number 6. Row 7, we see Mike Skinner, a teammate to the Daytona 500 champion. He's starting next to Jeff Gordon. Row number 8, we see Jack Sprague. He's starting next to Ward Burton. Sprague, one of the rookies this year, starting from the Truck Series last year. Row number 9, we see Dale Jarrett starting next to Lake Speed. Lake Speed, new to the 88 car, moved into it a couple weeks ago. We'll see how he's getting along here today. And rounding out your top 20, 77, Robbie Gordon. Very good start for that Jasper Racing Team car. He's starting next to Ricky Rudd.
Then in the second half of the field, we're going to see the 87 of Mike McLaughlin, who's been absolutely having some stellar runs in that 87 car. Not as good a qualifying run as it's been in the last few races, but still 21st is very respectable. 22nd, the number 9 of Morgan Shepherd. Then behind them, it'll be the number 95 of Wally Dallenbach, that third RCR car, alongside one of the Hendrick rookies, the 25 of Steve Park. Behind them, it's another championship contender who's a little bit back in the field, 25th in Bobby Hamilton, alongside the number 41 of Lyndon Amick, who's finally made a race after a couple D&Qs over the last few weeks. Then in 27th, we'll see the number 4 Jeff Burton, alongside Jeremy Mayfield, winner earlier this year. And to round out the top 30 will be the number 38 of Ted Musgrave and the 49 of Jeff Green.
Moving on to the last bit of the field here, row 16, Michael Walter will be starting next to Ricky Craven, 31st and 32nd. And moving on down in row 17, we see Rusty Wallace starting next to David Green. Row 18, we see Joe Ruttman starting next to Sterling Marlin. Then row 19, we see another one of the rookies, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's starting next to John Andretti. Row 20, we see the Daytona 500 champion, Ernie Irvin. He's starting next to Matt Kenseth. Row 21, we see Jason Keller starting next to Johnny Benson Jr. Rounding out the field in row 22, a very poor qualifying session for Mark Martin, the only driver to go over 38 seconds in his qualifying time.
Yeah, Mark Martin's got himself a hole to get out of, but at least this is just one race compared to some of the other guys here in the back half of the field, especially Craven and Johnny Benson Jr. for Kranefuss Haas. They have not had that kind of luck over the last... They've not had good luck over the last few weeks. A lot of poorer results than where they were at the beginning of the year, and they were involved in quite a few of the most recent incidents over the last few races. And when you just seem to get... When you keep getting caught up in stuff, whether it's your fault or not, it's like, what's kind of that team mentality you got to think to get yourself out of the hole?
That's a very tough question to answer, I think. It's a weird case because it's like you got to start trying to get back on the right track. You need to build some momentum in some way, but at the same time, when you're constantly stuck in this hole, it can be very hard to dig out of.
Just one of the many things to watch as we get the command fire engines here.
88 laps here today, fuel window around 50 laps. Michael, is there anyone you're looking at here today at California?
Oh man, staying up front has been one of the bigger issues, or that's going to be one of the main priorities for today. And holding on to that lead is going to be the big thing. I think right now we might have a good chance for an outside contender. I mean, go for Mike Bliss again. He deserves a good run after everything he's been through, I think. We'll get to Darien's pick in a second as we got the green flag. We are underway for the first time in California. And look at that, we already see cars going way up to the outside right now. That's a 43. Issues reported on the 5. They're reporting a vibration of sorts right as they've hit the start.
Sounded like a coolant leak, I think, on the 5 car.
It's going to make it very hot inside that race car. We'll see how it is.
Jim.
Oh, man, we have 3 wide all over the track. Oh, the 5's coming to pit road. Just saw that as Harry Gant's going to go and lead lap 1.
That was not good. That's going to really separate the field here at the start of Hornaday coming into the pits on lap number 1.
We'll get an update on how that works for him in just a second. In the meantime, Harry Gant led the first lap. He might lose the lead, though. Derek Cope battling back hard on the outside.
He's right there in the lead ahead of the 28. Dale Sr. in third, the points leader. Then it's Bobby Labonte in 4th place, ahead of his brother Terry.
And looking at the wider shot of this, we see the field is kind of split up from the 5 coming to pit road so suddenly.
Is the 5 still on track?
The 5 is still on track. Yes, here he is. He's going to come out about half a lap.
Oh, goodness.
No, he's going to get lapped soon. Leaders, first 5, all single file right now. They are 3 wide for 6 right behind. Mike Skinner on the inside of the 99 and the 33. We saw Bliss go all the way down to the inside of the track right behind them. They're almost 4 wide. Going to go into turn 1.
That is sketchy. That is very sketchy. Only on lap 4, and they're already racing like the last lap. We might have a battle for the lead here. Dale Sr. on the inside line, trying to get to the inside of the 3 of Derek Cope.
Cope's got 3 cars against 2 on the inside, and he's able to use that run on the outside to go and clear the 43. Hold on to the lead for now. We see the 82 looking back, trying to get into possibly 3rd. Looking at least for 4th on the inside of the 21.
Right on the inside there, that's so close. I don't know how much farther up the road is the 5, because I didn't see him too far away. Oh yeah, there he is. I don't know if he's much slower though than these guys up here.
Take a look at that in just a second. Oh, the 44 also had an issue.
Oh, fuel system failure.
He's still on pit road right now.
That's not good either.
That's 2 rookies who have had issues by lap 5.
Now, it becomes a situation of, will this race become a race of endurance? Not for the driver, but for the car, because that's 2 issues very early on. Could we see more of that as this race progresses?
That's something I think that is going around in the back of a lot of these crew chiefs' minds. Definitely something to keep an eye on as the race progresses. You know, brand new track. What you think might be the good setup might not be. You see the 82. Looks like he could get passed by the 11. They're trying to get by him on the inside. Skinner lost his help, though, and the 82 is going to hold on.
That's the battle for 5th place, or 4th place right there. As the battle for the lead continues to go, it's 6/100ths of a second between Cope and Earnhardt. And Earnhardt's actually going to go and take the lead here on lap number 7 of 88.
Got to the inside and took it through turns 1 and 2. Now down the backstretch, the 3 is going to try to battle back, but he's not going to be able to do much on that outside. It's a wide racetrack, but the farther out you go, the harder it is to keep control of that car. There's just not a lot of grip out there.
Yeah, it could be a thing of people haven't been running there, so there's no real way of getting your grip down if no one's running there, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely a preferred lane already here at this track that people are kind of going for. So that dark line of the asphalt that's kind of been pushed in as the practice sessions and qualifying has gone on. And there's like one good lane right up on the edge of that asphalt that's gonna that can either give you a good run, but if you go any farther to the outside, it's going to send you back. As we see, the 44 has come back out on track. He's right ahead of the 5, who's right ahead of the 43.
Yeah, I'm just not thinking about like Dale Earnhardt's season so far. That team has had mostly ups, but a couple downs as well when you look at the stats here. 11 top 20s over 14 races, 8 top 10s. All of his top 10s are top 5s. But he's never won. He has not won yet this year despite leading 89 laps. Best finish a second a couple weeks ago at Pocono. But he's also got 4 third-place finishes, Michael.
Yeah, the win continues to elude him as we see the 28 of Harry Gant slowly closing in. Probably going to make a strike within the next 2 laps. But yeah, Senior, since Talladega, the last 5 races, he had that second Pocono. But beyond that, no finish has been in the top 15. He even had a 36th place finish out at Dover. The other finishes have been in the high teens, mid 20s, which that's why everybody else has been able to go and keep that gap to him, and why we have 5 drivers within 100 points of the points lead.
Yeah, it's definitely been a weird case because, like, at the start of this season, like, before Talladega, really, or before Charlotte, I should say, before then, it was like, there was only one guy who we really thought even had a chance at the championship, and that was Dale Sr. Like, he was so good at the start of the season, but now these last few races, he started to fall off a bit, and it's starting to become a thing of, like, would you start to panic if you're Dale Earnhardt Sr. at this stage?
I don't know. I would say not yet. You can probably go see how these next few races. We got California now, Daytona next week. I think that if we don't see anything from Dale past Daytona, then I think is when we start going and giving a little bit of concern to that 43. But he leads right now, and he's holding off the 28. So, focus in the moment, and things are going pretty good.
And even notice this Dale Jarrett's moved up into 4th place here, ahead of the 82 of Elliott Sadler. Very good going for the 2 car of Petty Penske. As here comes Gant for the lead. To the inside of the 43, but the 43 is going to hold on there on an inside line.
We're slowly closing in on the 5 and the 44. Jarrett.
I think they're starting to get a bit of a draft off the 5 car, I would think.
I think so. They seem to be closing in that much. Meanwhile, right behind them, 5th, Elliott Sadler. Mike McLaughlin has worked his way up to 6th from 21st.
I mean, hey, that car's been like bad fast ever since McLaughlin took over in that 87. Not saying this as a drag on Joe Nemechek. We hope he's doing well. But McLaughlin has honestly been taking that 87 car to new heights as we see another battle for the lead here between Harry Gant and Dale Earnhardt Sr.
And it looks like Harry Gant might be able to go and take it this time by... Depends how much of a run he can get off the corner. 43's got the 3 to help him. But Gant might just be able to prevail.
Oh my goodness.
1/100th that time.
3 wide for second.
Hello, Dale Jarrett. He might go for the lead.
Oh my goodness.
28 had to... Just got ever so slightly out of shape in the corner. And Dale Jarrett went by them all. To the lead he goes.
Cope now. Cope could look to make it 3-1 going into turn 3.
He does. He does the exact same thing the 2 just did.
Now the 82. Here comes Sadler. What in the world?
If you see a strategy and it works for the guy in front of you, might as well try it because it might just work.
Earnhardt gets clear of the 28 and barely gets clear of the 87. But really checks up through 1 and 2 that time.
Yeah, the 43 has been losing a few more spots this time around. He lost one to the 99, could lose one to McLaughlin here. And he's still stuck on the outside.
Oh my goodness. That is not good for Dale Sr., someone who needs to be up there leading laps, getting points to pull away in the championship. Not doing it right now as here comes Bobby Labonte, 3 wide for 6th place.
And the 43 once again to the outside, continuing to lose spots. Another guy who's losing spots earlier in the race, the 33 of Terry Labonte. He's how far? He's fallen to 35th.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's not ideal for the 33 car.
There he is right now. Back there with Michael Waltrip, Joe Ruttman, Johnny Benson Jr. right ahead of him.
It's been a fairly rough season for Terry Labonte. Like, he's 14th in points, which isn't bad, but it's like, he's the reigning champion, you know? You expect a lot more of the reigning champion. He won a race back in Richmond at the start of the season, but ever since then, he's only mustered 1 top 10. So, you gotta start getting a bit worried I would think, if you're Terry Labonte.
Yeah, that one's going to have to be something that him and his teammate Jeff Burton are going to have to work out a little bit as the season progresses. As we see, Dale Jarrett, on the other hand, has worked out to a 0.6 of a second lead over the 28 of Harry Gant.
Biggest lead we've seen so far today. Look us up in the top 5 now. Air Force One, the 98 of Bill Elliott.
He's doing a pretty good job for himself right now. Which, you know, we're talking about guys who need a good day, and there's one of them, 27th in points. He's got a 4th place and a 12th place in the last few weeks, but some high 30s in the meantime as well.
That's mostly what's been the story of with Bill Elliott, is like, you get some runs that you're in the top 30, but most of the time you're outside of that threshold. You're outside the top 30. Sometimes even outside the top 35, so to see him running in the top 10 is a good change of pace for a 98 team.
It definitely is. And as we're coming up on lap traffic relatively earlier than anybody expected, they still have not caught the 5 and the 44 ahead of them on lap 21. And eventually we'll be able to see how these guys are able to maneuver past lap traffic and what that's going to mean for Dale Jarrett and a 0.6 of a second gap. Is he going to be able to get around them easily and the gap's going to increase, or is the gap going to get even shorter as they battle back for second here?
See, I would think if, in that case, the 5 and the 44, they have the advantage of, like, slightly fresher tires. Like, the 5 pit on lap 1, so it's not going to be as severe, but the 44 on lap 5 definitely is a bit fresher. The thing is, I don't know where the next lap car would be from those two. That would be the thing that I'm looking at in that case.
That would be Lyndon Amick. He's 11 seconds back, but that's a very long distance away. The 5 that time by is listed as 37 seconds back, and he's just right ahead of the 2 car right now, as they still continue to battle for second.
Because of this battle, the gap has gone up to 1.1 seconds between Wallace and Gant, but now Derek Cope trying to get second place back. The 3 and the 28 going at it here in California.
And this is something we've seen with all of the bigger tracks like this, California and Michigan. As they go, a lot of the runs are dependent on the draft from the guy behind you. So as long as you stay within relative distance of him, it's fine. But when you battle side by side like this just allowing Dale Jarrett to just drive away, because he's got the draft from those lappers.
Big run here for the 3 on the outside line. Absolutely ran right past the 28 that time, and now the 87 going to the outside. Here comes Steve Park in the 25 car.
Yeah, Park was also mired back in traffic around 24th when we started this, and he's worked his way up to the front with decent time.
Look at the gap now, Michael. 2 seconds. between first and second.
I'm loving this
And
battle for second.
now the
but
lap cars are battling. The lap cars are battling. Hornaday and Kenseth. Hornaday's got past Kenseth. That's not for position. But now that's very interesting, I feel like.
Yeah, it is not for position. Kenseth is trying to stop himself from going 2 laps down. Ron Hornaday is still on the lead lap, trying to stay on the lead lap. 2.3 seconds the gap now, and if you're second on back, I'm thinking at this point, okay, stop the fighting right now. Somebody go ahead and somebody track down this number 2. And right now, Harry Gant is in second with the best position to go and do that. If they still battle for third, Derek Cope still trying to make that outside lane work. Don't know how well that's going to go for him, though. We got the 82 of Elliott Sadler going to try to get to the inside of him. Steve Park already got around him. Then there's Mike Skinner in 6th. Also part of a huge gaggle of cars which is forming. It's got its own pack right here.
Yeah, all that because the 2 or the 28 and the 25, or the 28 and the 3 were fighting for so long. I'm even getting scrambled to hear myself. Because now the gap's up to 2 3/4 between the 2 and the 28, and it's now become, can the 2 hold this through the pit cycle? Which the pit cycle may not come for another 25 laps.
And the 2 has caught the lappers. To the inside of the 44, he's going to go. Should be relatively simple. Unless the 44 can go and battle back on the outside.
Oh, that's a teammate too. That's not good. Oh no. Now we look at the gap this time around, because if the 28's not fighting with the 25, this could be a big deal here.
Yeah, it was 3 seconds the last time around. The gap between first and second. We'll see how it is this time, as Dale Jarrett's having a grand old time trying to get around a teammate. 2.9 seconds, went down 2/10.
I don't think 2/10 is enough, though. That's not a whole lot compared to what he was gaining when the 28 and the 3 were side by side.
As Jarrett leads up here, we'll look back at some of these other cars up here. Jeff Burton in the 4, Sterling Marlin in the 42. Marlin having a really nice looking car. I just really like that black, purple, and blue.
Very nice looking car, one of the better looking cars in the field, I feel like. It's good to see him running up here in the top 10. Sobko's not been having a very fun season, so very fun to see them doing well.
Yeah, they got a third place
Oh,
in
3
Talladega,
wide.
and they're 3 wide.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And look at there, right behind them, to the Earnhardts and Elliott Sadler.
A family affair in a Dodge. Gotta love it. Whoa, Sadler.
Try to get up to the side of the 43 car. Try to take some of the air off, see if he can hold on to that position. Did not work for him. To come across the stripe, lap 31 already.
That did not look pretty. That was almost a very big accident there between the 82 and the 43. Gap's coming down. It's down to 2 1/4. But now the 2 is past the 44, so it's now a thing of, now there's a lap car in the way.
We'll see how that affects him. They've still got a little bit to catch up to him. There's a 99 of Ricky Rudd. Got past the 43. Bill Elliott. The 98 car. Got ahead of the 3 of Derek Cope, who continues to fall back. Currently under fire from the 87 of McLaughlin again.
And now we're seeing his teammates start to come up here. The 31, John Andretti. All 3 Richard Childress racing cars made this race, but now Andretti is the one who leads the charge as he gets past the 3 of Derek Cope.
If you remember, Andretti was the guy who he was having the off and on of top 20 DNQ'd, and he's finally gone and started making every single race. He has not missed a race since Texas earlier this year, and while it's not been all top 20s, it's still been pretty good. He's 26th in points, actually ahead of Bill Elliott. we were talking about, and I think the 31 has done his job pretty well of getting that car out of the owner's points hole.
Yeah, climbing up to 26 in points, that's like the main thing you could ask for someone that doesn't have any owner's points at the start of the season. And the fact he only missed 3 races, I feel like is pretty impressive in these first 14. Best finisher 3rd, 3 top 10s, 7 top 20s. I think Andretti's done his job quite well in that 31 car. Oh, don't go 4! That was close.
Just keeping us on our toes. Hello, 98. Went a little bit high, forced the 43 out of the preferred lane. Now he's under fire from the 2 RCR cars. The 2 RCR cars are going to go right by him. So is the 88 Elite Speed in 16th right now.
And now I'm starting to get a bit scared here. Lap 33 of 88. And now it's becoming a thing of like... Now you're almost kind of thinking there would be a caution before this pit cycle. Which, that would not end well.
The fuel window is about 50 laps.
If a caution is to come out now, we have a fuel mileage race in our hands. I don't think anyone really wants that.
Yeah, well, it's fun for the fans. They get to see that play out in real time, but if you are racing in it, you are paranoid.
If you're racing, a crew chief, a crew member, or even a commentator, you're dreading it to hell and back because you have to manage that stuff. And if you're a commentator, you may not know where everyone is on track, and that could be a pain in the arse.
Ever so slightly,
Where'd Jason Keller come from?
Hello, Jason Keller.
Well, that's a surprise. Here comes Robbie Gordon to the inside of Keller, going 3 wide of Labonte, or 3 wide of Earnhardt, sorry.
I mean, that 12 car, Larry Lockamy Racing, on average, it's only making like one every 2-3 races at this point. So to be up here and still competing for a top 20, always a good day for a very underfunded team.
Yeah, team has a best finish at 23rd place. That was back at Willow Springs. This could be a big day for that Larry Lockamy team. That team, there's been talks of it potentially shutting down at the end of 1997, but nothing's been confirmed yet. It would be a great boost of momentum for that 12 team if they can get a top 20 here today.
For now, they've got to hold on, though, as the field goes and uses every single lane available to them. But I think finally, most of that, it's almost pack racing, has died down for the most part. Guys, Daytona is next week. You can do all your pack racing there.
That's gonna be fun. We're having fun. Potential battle for second here between Harry Gant and Sterling Marlin. Because now we're gonna see as they cross the line what the gap looks like. Big. It's big.
3.6 seconds.
Yeah, that's not ideal
For everybody except Dale Jarrett, who is gotten by the lappers and leads his own little pack of 3 as they drive away from the field.
And now he's got nothing to really worry about behind him unless the 5 for some reason is able to make a charge here to his inside. Gap this time at the line, 3.986, almost 4 seconds. I think barring something happening on the pit stops, it would be nigh on impossible for someone to challenge Dale Jarrett.
Pit stops are their own thing, and with how much we've seen from them, I think it might just be simple to take this one run at a time.
Do we really want to talk about pit stops, Michael?
No, we're going to look at this interesting battle for second instead. Because really, that's what everybody is going for right now. They're going for second. Ignore the lead right now. You want to get yourself up to second.
A point is points, and second place is still a lot of points at the end of the day. Steve Park up to third place ahead of the number 28. Is now here comes Dale Jr. trying to get fourth from Harry Gant. Sterling Marlin up in second place, 4 seconds off the lead, so we're not going to worry about that. But now Park's starting to close on the 42.
Still trying to get there as Gant could potentially lose another spot to the 48. And you were talking about points, and that becomes really apparent, I mean, when you look at it again. For winning a race, you get 180 points, but second gets you 170, and then the gap between second and third is 5 points, 165 for third. And that's when you realize, when you see some of these points battles decided by only a few points, it reminds you, every point is very important.
Yeah, especially when you look at how close a championship is. 100 points between the top 5, like we said at the top of the show. Every point matters. It doesn't matter where you finish, every point matters. That's why someone like Dale Sr. falling out of the top 10 is a big deal. That's why someone like Ricky Rudd running in the top 10, it's a big deal. Any type of move you can make to progress yourself in this championship battle is a big deal.
Oh, there's the 4, gonna try to make a move on the inside of McLaughlin. Nothing of it. Maybe try to get to the inside. McLaughlin shuts the door. Coming out of turn 4. Jeff Burton might try.
McLaughlin has been shockingly good in his 4 races since taking over the 87 car, I think.
Definitely in driver standings right now, he's up to 48th overall with just 3 races. He's behind he's already passed some of the guys who have had a really hard time qualifying, and within striking distance of several more drivers that he could go and get even today. As he goes 3 wide, there's the 4 trying to get underneath him right now.
Oh, he's got Mike Skinner to his outside as well. This is the battle for 6th place. But McLaughlin will come out ahead. Oh, goodness. Elliott almost got into the 11. As here's Lake Speed up here in the 88. You gotta love that.
He was one of those guys, actually, who he's only now starting to go and make more races since the ride swap, and up to 11th as he gets around the 11 of Mike Skinner, potentially top 10 by the end of this lap. And good runs are good runs.
Take them how you can get them. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter when, as long as you can get them, that's what matters. We're seeing it here for the 88 of Lake Speed. Another one who's having a really good run, Sterling Marlin, that 42 car, up in 2nd place.
Still holding on to 2nd. Closing in a little bit on the 2, but not enough yet. But we were talking about Mike McLaughlin. I want to go back to that real quickly. And I just want to mention that the 87, even with its 2 different drivers, is still 22nd in owner's points, thanks to the efforts of McLaughlin. So that's really good news for the 87 team.
It's amazing to hear when you know you're pretty much guaranteed into the race. I know the way we do qualifying around here is a tiny bit different. Is actually Hornaday's got past with 2 car. Huh. Now Kenseth right there as well, right behind him. We're almost at pit cycle. Do you think that could have something to do with it?
I think so. If you're doing really well at the beginning of the run, you tend not to do so as you go later into the run, and it starts to show. And I think in a couple laps, Dale Jarrett might be saying, "Hey, pit crew, I need some 4 feel goods."
Yep. Gap's down to 3.1. It was up to 4 at some point. I can't exactly remember when, but it was at 4 seconds. Like we said, fuel window is 50 laps. And the tire fall off right now.
Sorry, little technical difficulties on hand. We'll get Darien back in a second. In the meantime, David Green helping the 99 of Ricky Rudd past the 87 of McLaughlin. And there's the 11 of Mike Skinner in the meantime, still battling back on the outside, trying against the 98.
Yeah, this battle for bottom of the top 10, upper top 15. That's a very intense battle there. I know we don't talk about it often, but like these low 10s is actually here going to come into the pits here. Skinner's in, and a lot more in. Sterling Marlin takes the lead.
2 is also the one to join them in a lot of cars, especially in the back half of the field, are coming in for pit road right now.
Lap 49 of 88, that's when we see the pit cycles begin. Gotta think how big a deal this could be for some of these guys to have a good pit stop, to come out ahead of the guys near you.
Just don't mess up. I mean, you know, it's one thing if you get held up by another car for a second and you lose 1 or 2 spots, but if you get turned around or get heavy damage, that's going to be the real killer. And the 99 is going to take the lead this time by.
He's going to stay out an extra lap, get the extra point. Lap number 50. Fuel running thin on these cars up here.
21, Robbie Labonte. Second, Lake Speed third right now. Bill Elliott fourth. Ernie Irvin fifth. The top 5 right now. Still having pit. I think they're all about to come right now.
Have to pit here. You're almost out of time.
Yeah, the 5 and the 2 already made their stop. 25 and the 48 also as well. Remember, Jarrett had that huge advantage, so we'll see how the 42 comes out in relation to him.
Way back.
And answers that.
Oh no.
Sterling's going to try to join the 25 and the 48.
Oh, look out, Sterling. Hart going to move ahead. Now Earnhardt going to try to move into third. About to cycle out here, as there goes Ricky Rudd, and that will be everyone. Dale Jarrett back in the lead.
And he's still got those 2 lappers ahead of him. Make that 1.
Yeah, make that 1. 38 laps to go. It's a sprint to the finish here at California. Bobby Labonte listed as the leader, but in reality it is Dale Jarrett. As they come to the line, we will finally see the gap between the 2 and the 25.
I see a car on pit road. Jeff Burton. He's having some troubles right now.
Is there an issue on the 4 car? He was running up around the top 10 if I'm not mistaken.
No issues reported. Something else might be going on.
I wonder if he got hit in the pits or something like that. Do you think we could possibly go back and check that?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and check that real quickly. Oh, he made contact with the 49.
I think that's what'll do it.
It didn't initially look that severe.
Oh, yeah, he got towed, I think. So that would do it, I think.
I was gonna say that didn't look initially as severe, but sometimes the damage isn't visible on the outside. So whatever the case, not a good day for the 4 car.
Some of the main thing as we look at the gap of 1.9 seconds, how far back is Lyndon Amick from the lead?
Now, we were talking about him as being the closest to going a lap down. He's listed 26 seconds back. So he's about another 10 seconds away from getting caught by the leaders. That time around, he lost about another half second that time.
I don't think we're going to catch the 41 here. I don't think there's enough time.
Shout out to Ron Hornaday, who just ran his fastest lap of the race. A 37.98.
Well, running in 41st, trying to keep your ass from going a lap down, you gotta do what you can, you know?
Definitely true, but that's extending the gap right now between the 2 and the 48 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And, Junior, Marlin, and Park right now, they're trying to... The 44 right now, I think, is their bridge. The bridge that they're going to go get the draft on, get past, and then try to track down that 2, stop him from getting another 4-second lead. Because the alternative is going back to 5th place in Mike McLaughlin, who is 7 seconds back.
Yeah, that's a bit farther. That is it? Wait,
Keller in the top 10!
Oh my god!
And the 4's finally come back out on track, it looks like. 5 laps down.
Jason Kelly's in the top 10. This is glorious. Oh, you absolutely love to see that. The sight of an unsponsored car running in the top 10 here at California. That is an absolute beauty.
And on the other end, we got the 4 of Jeff Burton, who was riding the grass a little bit on the way out of the pit road, but he is able to rejoin. But he's still going to take a minute to catch up to speed. You got Joe Ruttman, Michael Waltrip, and Jeremy Mayfield all trying to get around him right now.
Yeah, this is the high 30s here. Or low 30s, sorry. So... Derek Cope is back here. And Bill Elliott, 2 of these guys who are up in the top 10, and they've fallen outside of the top 35.
Pit stops did not favor them this time around. And this is going to be extremely detrimental for the 3 car, especially.
Yeah, that is going to be massive. After winning a couple weeks ago at Pocono, now he's going to fall way back here. And Michael, I'm just now remembering this. Dale Jarrett, he won last time out at Michigan.
He might be the second guy this time to try to go for 2 wins in a row. But unlike Morgan Shepherd, these 2 tracks, if he does win Michigan and California, they are a lot more similar. And I think that's going to give Jarrett and Petty Penske a pretty good idea that, hey, these long 2-mile tracks, this might be something that's up our wheelhouse.
See, that's not even the thing I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the fact this would be Jarrett's 3rd win of the season. It would be the most of any driver this season. It would be number 3. We're 15 races in. He would be he's not only the 3rd multi-time winner this season, he would be the first to hit 3 wins in 1997. So that could be a very big accomplishment, especially in the championship fight, where he's only 124 points off the lead.
Yeah, a good day today, especially winning, would go and definitely bring him within 100 points of the championship fight. And once again, open up the floodgates, because Jarrett is right on the outside of the championship fight. And with how many wins he has, if he gets a 3rd one today, that's going to solidify, no, he has entered the arena this time.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like I said, the 2 wins is obviously a big deal. 5 top 5s really good. 7 top 10s really good. 10 top 20s really good. Average finish of the year 14.5. Not absolutely amazing, but definitely not bad. You could definitely see him as a contender at the end of the season with how this is going.
And right now, he's the only contender. The gap is almost 4 seconds once again as they battle for second, the two Hendrick boys, 25 and 48.
I'm just now seeing again, Jason Keller has fallen out of the top 10, unfortunately, but it was really cool to see him up there for a little bit.
It was fun while it lasted.
You always gotta shout out the small teams while they're up there. It's always fun to see them whenever they're doing good.
And just the gap, though, between all these cars is so huge. It's a little bit boggling.
Yeah, as they continue battling for second, I mean, the gap's just gonna get even bigger. Like, I already know, like, they're not gonna catch him in time, but damn, you know?
That time by, it was Earnhardt who got second. But still, though, 4.5 seconds. Gap continues to increase as Steve Park goes to the inside of the 48 car. Sterling Marlin has the option. He can support whoever. He's going to go with Steve Park for now. They're going to try to drive on by the 48, who has help from the 44.
Now, if I'm Sterling Marlin, I'm not thinking about trying to help these guys. I'm thinking about when can I make a move to 3 wide. But actually, it might just work out. He's pushed Park ahead. Now he's side by side with the 48. 25 coming back down, but the 40 with the help on the outside. Gonna move back ahead.
Not work for Sterling Marlin that time by. Hello to the inside of the 44 goodness. He goes.
The second pack is starting to catch up to these guys as well. The gap is 2.5 seconds between them. So there's a possibility we could have a much bigger fight for second by the end of this race.
Might be something we saw at the end of the first caution run where we have 15 cars battling for second as the leader drives away, gladly letting a battle for second take place. And yeah, look at that, the 24 and the 99, David Green, Ricky Rudd closing in.
Yeah, gap between them now 2 seconds. They get about half second last time by. They are definitely going to get there, I think, by the time this one comes to an end. There's a gap for a lead, 5.5 seconds. This one, I know we have 24 laps to go, but it just feels like it's over.
Barring something absolutely insane happen. And that's why we can't go and say, can't call it a wrap just yet, because there's always that possibility in motorsports of something insane happening. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
See, the thing is, it's if it will happen, and if it does happen, when does it happen? That's my thing. It's both an if and a when, I feel like, because there's no guarantee either or could happen, you know?
Yeah.
As the second pack continuing to close in. 7.3 off the lead, 5.6 for the lead from first to second. Make it 5.7.
But we already know that the 2 is going to get the most points, or most points for laps led today.
Yeah, I mean, that's already a guarantee. They led, I think, 44 of the first 50 laps, which would have already locked it up. So that was almost a given. Now the question is, who will finish this race in second, I feel like. Because with 22 laps to go, 21 laps to go, it's all wide open, I feel.
Yeah, the 24 and the 99, as they battle side by side, they're still closing in on those guys ahead of them. First car is going to be the 44 they're going to try to catch. As we're going to see 20 laps to go this time by.
Gotta wonder. When they catch them, it's a matter of how much bigger the run is going to be for the 99, the 24, the 28. Because you need to get past the 44 really quickly here.
Now, one thing I want to take a quick look at, Morgan Shepherd is currently 15th. Dale Sr. is now 19th. And that'll be a few points gained for Morgan Shepherd if the results hold as is. And the 10 is ahead of them too. So I think in the everybody in the field is going to make up everybody in the top 6 at least is going to make up points on Senior today if the results hold, except for the number 3 of Derek Cope.
Yeah, Cope, last we saw him, he was 37th. I wouldn't be surprised if Dale Jarrett manages to leapfrog him in this one. As here comes the 99. He's already there at the back of the 25. That 99 is absolutely flying right now here at California.
Yeah, he's managed to figure something out. One of the other Fords right now. And he's doing just well. And I'm starting to wonder, this almost might be a manufacturer thing, as we see the two going by Lyndon Amick on the inside. Lyndon Amick about to go a lap down in 41st position. But the Chevys have not made much ground. Meanwhile, the Ford, Ricky Rudd, and the other Ford, Harry Gant, has also gone and made up time. Chevy's not so much.
Well, you say that. David Green's up here in a Chevrolet as well. He's already caught his... So... I mean, compared to the leader, they're not making up time, and the Fords are, but... the Chevys are definitely not completely slacking, I feel like.
Definitely true, as we see more cars going side by side right behind them. That's a 30 of Rusty Wallace at the tail end of the top 10, battling Bobby Hamilton, Bobby Labonte, and Ernie Irvin.
This goes all the way to 8th place here as Hamilton moves into 10th. I think I don't know who that is. I think I see 87 under pressure from the 9 of Morgan Shepherd.
Yes, it is McLaughlin.
As we see Jason Keller running 13th right in front of these guys. That is so beautiful. I know it's not a top 10, but P13 is absolutely amazing for that team.
And I think right now he's one of the guys who doesn't mind the big gaps between everybody else, because I think since the 12 has the slower car right now, that's giving him more time to hold on to some of these leaders and not lose as much time.
Mike McLaughlin right behind him. Not a whole lot of battling going on, it seems like. Mostly single file here at California.
Johnny Benson Jr., who we were talking about not that long ago, or at the beginning of the show, who was not having a good day, or their team was not in the last few weeks. He's up to 19th. Not exactly much, but still something on the day. So,
I mean, compared to where he started, it could definitely be a lot worse. He started back in the 40s. So, definitely good to see a recovery out of that 37 car.
Speaking of recovery, Terry Labonte has finally gotten away from the 30s and is up to 21st again.
And moving? He's trying to move. Not really moving a whole lot, but he's moving a bit. So... I'm kind of lost on what to talk about here. Not a lot going on here. Mark Martin's moving up. Derek Cope moving back up.
Oh, they're 3 wide right here. Almost. Ruttman tried to get to the inside of this gaggle of cars. You have Dallenbach, Elliott Sadler, who started up front back in 27th. He's not on the recovery arc right now.
No, and I never got a chance to mention this, but I was going to pick Elliott Sadler to win this race. Not very fun to see how far he's fallen here in this one.
Yeah, also falling. The other pick, Mike Bliss. Well, neither of us were right today on our picks.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we've had worse picks so far over the season, so it could always be worse.
He's 33rd right now, as it stands. Just lost a spot to Jeremy Mayfield. and part of this back half of cars who are currently almost 18, 19 seconds behind the leaders. Lake Speed as well, falling behind here. Alongside Michael Waltrip, Craven, Hermie Sadler. Some stragglers as well. Jeff Green is the car who's would potentially be caught next. He could be caught next. He's only about 3 seconds ahead of the 5 right now, who the 2 is still drafting off of to continue on with this 6-second lead.
I didn't even notice Ricky Rudd is up to second place now. Ahead of the 24 and 42. 28 running up the top 5. They're closing, albeit by 1/10 a lap, so it doesn't matter. But they are closing.
That's the thing sometimes. It's like, I mean, when you come away from a race weekend, even if you don't go and take and you aren't able to close down a guy because you have such a massive gap, if you're still making these gains lap over lap, does that like give you something to work with for when you go to the track next year?
It definitely can, as long as you're like you're working on the setup. I feel like if you're the crew chief, if you're the mechanics, you're already trying to figure out like what went wrong this year, what went right for the other guys. And you're trying to think like what can we do to improve going into 1998.
Yeah, because remember 1997, this is our year with the draft. So once I think everyone's kind of finding their footing when it comes track by track basis. And then when we get to 1998, we can actually go and apply some of this. It's not just a lot of the relearning process. It's going to be, you can hit the ground running. As they battle side by side for second, David Green trying to get to the inside of the 99 car of Rudd. And it looks like Green's going to take second. Potentially, if he can go and get the good run off the corner. Seeing might reported issues. No. 73 was just reporting a vibration. Nothing serious as of yet, though.
About jumped out of my damn seat when I heard that.
He is still in 35th, though, so 36 now. So even if there was an error, it's not too many spots lost. But yeah, I would start looking at the drawing board again for the 73.
While we have time, I want to take a look ahead at our next few races here on the schedule. Daytona coming up next, the Pepsi 400, always a fun time. New Hampshire, the Jiffy Lube 300, another. New Hampshire should be very interesting, I feel like. I don't know what you think on New Hampshire, Michael, but I always feel like it could be a very fun track if things go right.
It's one of the flatter ovals. New Hampshire it's a very unique track on its own, and I know some drivers love it, some absolutely hate it. So we'll see how it's actually able to play out for everybody.
Yeah, and then after that, third race from today. Race number 18, the Pennsylvania 500. We're back in Pocono. We saw how Pocono was a couple weeks ago. That was a very fun race, that one was, in Long Pond, Pennsylvania.
And then looking beyond that, we see Watkins Glen, second road course of the year. And we saw what Morgan Shepherd was able to do at Willow Springs. I'm really curious if anybody else is going to have some road course pace when we get there.
You mentioned Watkins Glen, don't forget what's right before it. The Brickyard 400. One of the biggest races on the calendar. Very fun track that is at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will definitely be a sight to behold by the time we get there.
And once we get after the Indianapolis Watkins Glen, it's one more race at Michigan, And that kind of concludes the 2 mile swing, which, maybe some of these drivers are very happy to. I think Dale Jarrett might miss it as the gap is still 6 seconds and we're on lap 85 of 88, almost over with this race. So, barring catastrophe, Dale Jarrett's about to get win number 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's been unreal, like, how much speed there has been on the 2-car, like, barring a couple weeks ago at Pocono where he finished 37th. It's been unbelievable seeing how good that 2-car is at this style of racetrack. It'll be fun to see how he is at Daytona. Whenever we go back to Pocono, whenever we go to Indianapolis, it's going to be very, very fun to see how that 2-car could do. We could be in for a huge stretch of wins here for the 2-car.
We're proving that the 2-car can do it, and I think one thing to analyze real quickly, how much do you think having the fact that we had 2 lap cars early on really helped him get away from everybody?
I don't think it's that. I think it's more the side-by-side battling between 28 and the 30. I think that's why he managed to pull away so much, because once that happened, there's no real way of being able to make an easy recovery like that. As we're now at 2 laps to go here in California. The gap is still around 6 seconds. 5.5 seconds now, actually.
Yeah, it's starting to go down a bit more, but that's a little too late.
Even if you did make up a quarter second, like, that's still gonna take, like, I don't know, 10 laps to make that up, 8 laps. Very long time. As around turn number 4, we'll come to the white flag, this time by 1 lap to go for Dale Jarrett here in California. Absolutely dominant. I think that's how we put this into words here, Michael. A dominant drive, a dominant weekend from Dale Jarrett.
Absolutely. It seems like whenever Jarrett goes and wins, he makes sure he lets everybody know that he's going to win this race in a very, very easy fashion as he comes out of turn 4 for the final time.
Dale Jarrett will round the final corner and come to the checkered flag. Jarrett dominates at California.
And the battle for second goes to David Green. Ricky Rudd's going to walk home with third. Harry Gant fourth. Ernie Irvin, a top 5 for him. That's his third top 10 in the last 5 races. All of them have been top 20s. Good run there for the number 7 car. Things are looking a little bit up for him.
That's actually back-to-back top 5s for Ernie Irvin. He finished 5th last week at Michigan, and now going into next week at Daytona, we could see a big day here, a big few weeks here from the 7 car for Junior Johnson. As we round up the top 10 here, Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Dale Jr., Steve Park, Bobby Hamilton.
The points is going to be really interesting to see, because we know the 10 and the 9 are going to make up points. Jarrett definitely. So we'll have to see, with a senior finishing 17th, who's going to come away with the points lead.
You know, if you had told me and started this race that Jason Keller would finish ahead of Jeff Gordon, Dale Sr., Ken Schrader, I think I would have wanted what you were smoking beforehand.
I would have wanted to ask how many cars crashed.
No crashes, just a couple mechanical failures. A very tame race here in California. It was a very fun one, I think, Michael.
Yeah, even though it was a dominant performance by Dale Jarrett, it was still had a lot of battles through the back of the field, and we got to see everyone go and learn these tracks on the fly almost. And it kind of shows you the technical prowess of a lot of these race car drivers who are able to go and figure these things out and put on displays of performance, like the runs we saw from the 99 of Ricky Rudd and the 24 of David Green, and of course Dale Jarrett, who comes away with the big prize by a large margin.
A dominant win. I want to say he led around 70 laps. I couldn't be completely sure on that. But dominance. Complete dominance. David Green, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvan, like we said at the top 5. Daytona. Next time out. The 2.5 mile super speedway where Ernie Irvan won the Daytona 500 at the start of the year. We'll be right back there next time out.
A lot of fun stuff to look out for the next few weeks. You don't want to miss it. It's right here with the draft series. For Darien Arnsdorff, I'm Michael Paz. This is the draft series. We will see you all next week at Daytona. Bye-bye.